Okay, so now Babylon has now grown to a population of 2 because they've been harvesting food. And I can dismiss this notification about that just by right-clicking on it. And they've also finished the, what was it I had them build again? Yeah, monument. So the monument costs gold as maintenance, but it also gives me culture, which means, and you see up here, culture gives me the ability to adopt policies, which I'll show you later. And it also makes the borders of the individual city that is, producing that culture expand, which allows them to, like currently this city can only use the squares within its border, but once it spreads, or if I were to say buy tiles, then it could use those squares. So I need to choose production. I think I'm going to choose a worker just so I can get improvements started early on my land, so I can, really crank up production fast. The other option I would consider would be a scout. Scouts move really fast, but don't have very much attack, or they don't have very much strength. So they're good for early game exploration, but they will get, destroyed by barbarians pretty quick. So I'm going to stick with the worker and get out of this menu. Alright, so let's get over here and see what these guys are up to. Let's watch as they move. Go. Alright, so they are just exploring, and as you can see, there are resources being revealed, as well as I can see, what type of terrain it is. If I hover over any of these places, I can see what's there. That would be nice to get. It would be nice to get some silk. So I might actually, we'll see. Oh, it's spelling on my other screen. We'll see, but this actually might be a nice area to build a city at some point. Oh, there we go. I got enough culture that my borders expanded, so then it spilled over into that area. Cool. Alright, let's go to the next turn. I have discovered mining. Alright, so that's my first tech, and I have actually turned off these pop-ups, but you can, by default, these pop-ups come up every time you discover a tech, and it tells you all the things you can get. Mining gives me the ability to make workers produce certain improvements. So as you see, normally it would ask me, if I hadn't queued those technologies up, it would ask me to pick another technology to go with, but because I queued it up, it goes straight on to pottery. So let's keep going. May adopt a policy. Okay, so as you can see up here, 22 out of 20. My city here has been producing culture at a rate of... and that's been adding to my total culture points for my entire civilization. So once it reaches this second number, once the first number surpasses the second number, I basically level up. And what I get are these social policies. Now, for those of you familiar with the Civ 3 system or something like that, this basically replaces your what do you call it? Your government systems, which was a pain in the ass in Civ 3 because you would get basically you'd have to research a form of government, then you'd have to deal with anarchy for 5 turns while you turned it into the new government, and then blah 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 blah. Anyway, but instead now you have these social policies that you can go down different trees. There's certain ones that can't be active at the same time, like you can only pick one of these 3: order, autocracy, or freedom. And you also can't have like piety and rationalism at the same time, which sort of makes sense. But yeah, so there's that. And there's also limitations. So these are the only 3: tradition, liberty, and honor that are unlocked right now for me to pick. So I think because we're on such a big map, I'm going to start with Liberty. As you can see, desire rapid expansion. So I'm going to start there, and we'll get back to that when I get more culture. And we'll keep going. Let's see what they're finding over here. More silk. And there's an oasis, which is nice, but not anything incredibly special. Alright, keep going. We still haven't found anybody, which is interesting. It's kind of nice, because it means all of this area is open for me to settle. Which hopefully I will do quickly. Huh. Okay. So I discovered another ruins, which they'll make a beeline for. Another civilization has started a pantheon, which means well, we'll get to it. I'll explain it when we get to it. Here are our first enemy units. So these anytime you see these black icons with the red icons with the red outlines and the black background, those are barbarians. Normally they are technologically inferior to you and are pretty easy to clean up. But they do keep popping up all the way into kind of the medieval age, at which point you mostly wipe them out. So, my dudes are probably going to fight here. And I can adopt another policy. Wow, that was quick. So, I should point out, it's not that it just got up to 22 or 20. It's not that I just needed 5 more after that 20. I actually needed 25 more. So I'm not explaining this very well, but basically I have now accumulated I accumulated 22, and then it took 20 of those away to get my first policy, and then I accumulated an additional 26, which then surpassed the 25. For those of you who have played RPGs before, it's like it's just like a level up system. Each additional level costs extra. You need extra experience points to buy the next level, basically. So I'm going to keep going into Liberty, just because it's a really good way to get fast expansion. Let me see. Yeah, I'm going to start with Republic, because it gives you quick buildings. You get to build buildings a little bit more efficiently. And then the next time I get a level up, now I need 50 to get to the next policy. I can get collective rule, which gives me a free settler, which is basically a free city, which is pretty sweet. Especially so early in the game. It's much less useful later in the game when you can, build a settler in a turn. I do want to point out that it is important in every Civ game to get some early expansion. You don't want to be the guy sitting with 1 or 2 cities when everybody else has 4 or 5. That will screw you in the end. Unless you're playing with the 1 city challenge, which maybe I'll do that another time in another tutorial. So there's probably going to be a fight here. No. Not yet, I guess. Okay, we've discovered pottery, and they finished the worker. So the worker, I'm now going to tell to automate. I trust the AI in this case to automate correctly. Some people don't. Some people like to micromanage every single one of their workers to build exactly what they want, exactly where they want it. I just say, go for it. Whatever you think is going to make my my civilization flourish, go for it. Okay, so I need to choose production again. I am going to... Oh, here we go. I'm going to build a shrine. And as you can see, it costs maintenance, like most buildings do, but it gives me faith, which is how that other group founded their pantheon. I'm suspecting it's... One of my enemies is probably Kamehameha, or I don't know, one of the others that has faith very early in the game, built when they don't need any technology to get it. So I've now discovered pottery, and we've got a fight brewing over here. And they're just kind of shuffling around right now because they haven't attacked yet, and they won't. My units won't stop exploring until they're attacked. So we'll see if they get attacked. If not, well, I need to wipe them out anyway. Okay, so I'm going to tell them to stop automation because they've already moved, I think. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So now we're going to talk about combat a little bit. So right here I have my spearmen. Now in former Civ games, each unit had an attack and a defense score, much in the same way a lot of card games do, like Magic the Gathering and other games like that. You have an attack and a defense, and they're a little different. They've simplified this in what I think is a great way in Civ 5, and just made it the straight up strength, which makes it fixes some of the problems that used to happen where you would, for example, have spearmen defeating like tanks for no apparent reason. That still happens very occasionally, but not nearly as much as it did in the older games. But anyway, so when you have a battle, there are a lot of things that are taken into account. So my spearman has a strength of 11, and they have a strength. Oh, now I'm gonna say something stupid. Okay, yeah, they have a strength of 8. So I have the advantage there. But there are other things that need to be taken into account. For example, they're standing on a hill, which means they get a terrain modifier of plus 25, as you can see. I can't point to it at the same time, but down here, you can see their terrain modifier plus 25% defense, and then they get a flanking bonus because they have 2 units here. So, but it still calculates, the game calculates that I should still have a minor victory. Now it's still a matter of dice rolls, who's gonna do how much damage to the other team. But I do have the advantage here, despite, if I were to move up to this hill, then we'd be on even ground, and I might actually have a better advantage, but I don't really care. It's not that big a deal. So I took 22 damage and dealt 42 damage. So they're hurting. And if you have animations on, you'll actually see, like, they'll kill each other off, and you'll see about how many. Well, even now you can see, I lost like 2 guys and they lost like 3. So, it gives you some visual representation of the comparative strengths. I'm gonna keep fighting these guys. And the game has alerted me that my city is being approached by barbarians. Now, here's a perfect example. Normally, in Civ 3, for example, this would scare the ever-loving crap out of me, because these barbarians could literally, in 2 turns, walk in, and the game would be over. Which was stupid. But they could just walk in and take it over. But now, I can defend myself. Not only if they attack do I have a defense, but I can actually shoot them from afar. So that's some free damage right there, which is pretty sweet. Okay. Oh, I just got a promotion. So in that last attack, I guess I got enough experience to level this unit up. So there's a couple of things I can do. One is I can heal them instantly. That's dumb. Pretty much don't ever do that unless you have like a unit that's really strong and you've had for a while and you've leveled up a bunch of times, and otherwise they're gonna die. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Then I can, but two of the standard ones that you can get right when you, like the very early ones, are Drill and Shock. One gives you, so Drill gives you plus 15% combat strength in rough terrain, and shot gives you plus 15% combat strength in open terrain. So hills, forest, or jungle, or no hills, no forest, and no jungle. So I'm going to actually, just because of where I am, I'm going to say take the drill one so they get a bonus in rough terrain. So you'll now see down at the bottom side here, when I go to attack, I get an extra 15%. Which means I'm going to take that much less damage and do that much more. So I'm actually going to kill these guys in this turn, and bam. They are now dead. And I'm going to fire on these guys again because they're too dumb to, you know, walk out here. And it also looks like I finished my shrine. So I am now going to start making faith. And we'll get to what that means in a little bit. I am actually going to start on a settler. It is a little early to do that, but the reason I'm going to do it is because I have not seen anybody. This is incredible, like how there aren't any, I haven't met any civilizations yet. There aren't not even any units. Literally just me and the barbarians out here. So these are world's most progressive people. So this is based on technologies. No, sorry, I take that back. Social policies adopted. So I am at the bottom. I mean, not really. I'm just, there's a bunch of 2s and a bunch of 3s. It's kind of a pointless measure. And of course they have a new unit. Anyway, I am going to fortify the spearmen until healed. They're probably safe, just because the barbarians aren't going to attack me because they're kind of dumb and know I'm stronger. So let's keep going. So normally in enemy territory, or in, sorry, not in enemy territory, in neutral territory, when your units do not move, your units will heal 10 health per turn. So we'll just keep going. And they finally scurried off. Okay. So these guys are not fully healed, but I am just going to, you know, I'm going to roll with it. Alright. So that still went in my favor, effectively. Oh, shit. They did attack me. That's interesting. I can kill them, but I'm going to be extremely weakened and potentially lose the unit if these guys come attack me. But it'll take them a full turn to get to me, which means I can run away. So I'm going to do it. So I cleared the encampment, I got 30 gold, and this spot will no longer spawn barbarians. Huh. So... here's a dilemma. Normally I don't use the heal instantly. I like to avoid it. But if I don't, I may lose the unit. And I can't embark yet. So I think I'm going to have to. Which is a bummer. And I really don't wanna. Oh well. Wow. It's been such a long time since I used that I forgot that it doesn't even heal you all the way. Well, there's that. And we keep going. Hey! I was totally right! It's... I always fuck it up. It's not Kamehameha, it's Kamehameha. It's not Dragon Ball Z up in this bitch. Yeah. Fellow Wayfarer, Grand Isles of Polynesia. Okay, so when you meet another civilization, you get a screen like this where they say, "What's up?" And Sorry for the noises, I'm stretching. And they say, you know, how's it going? Now we know who you are. And right off the bat, you can declare war if you're an idiot, or you can try and trade with them, or you can demand something of them, or just discuss stuff, or you can just go away. So, oh right. So, as the Babylonians, because I get a bonus of when I discover writing, which the Babylonians are famous for. You guys should you know, pay attention to your history. Cuneiform, that's what it's called. So my bonus is when I discover writing, I get a scientist. So a scientist, great person, can do one of a couple of things. They can either construct an academy on a tile, which will basically on that tile create additional science output for that near the city that has a person working that tile. Normally, that is one of the better things to do because it gives you a more although it doesn't give you the short-term boost of well, I'll get to that in a second. It gives you a long-term boost of additional science output per turn by a city. So that's what I'm actually going to do. The other option that you can do later, well, you could do it now, or you can do it later, is just to immediately spend the guy to discover any technology that's, here on the tree. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to move him over here, and then I guess I'm going to wait. Fight these guys, and I've now gotten enough culture to upgrade again, which means I get a settler. So I'm now going to get 2 settlers very quickly.